section, you won't be able to go to the bottom of the whole brain to figure out what's going on. You've just got to know the relationship of these to one another, okay? So, for instance, here we have our corpus callosum. Now remember how when we were looking at the spinal cord, we said that the white matter is on the outside and the gray matter is on the inside? It's exactly the opposite in the brain. The gray matter is just a tiny, tiny bit of the top of the actual brain, and underneath, so all of this stuff that you're looking at are axons that are going from one part of the brain to another part of the brain, that kind of thing. And they go in different ways. So for instance, this corpus callosum is a type of bundling of axons called commissures, okay, that go from one hemisphere to the other hemisphere. This is the septum pellucidum. Now remember what I said about the septum pellucidum. I said that it was going to be the inside of this lateral ventricles, or the septum pellucidum, okay? And so this is an actual structure. Now the earlier class, some of the students actually didn't believe that these were structures, that they were only spaces. It's not true. This is an actual structure within your brains, the ventricles, okay? The roof of which is the place that you're making cerebrospinal fluid in the choroid plexus. So, if the septum pellucidum is not in the section that you're looking at, you actually see inside the lateral ventricle, okay? Now, as we look at this then, you have the corpus callosum, the fornix is this area down here, the optic chiasma, the thalamus, or intermediate mass. This darker area is where the infundibulum will come off. So, between this area and this area is your hypothalamus. Here's your pituitary, mammillary body. You see this lighter area right here, mammillary body, midbrain, pons, medulla, spinal cord, arbor vitae, fourth ventricle. Now, you see that this third ventricle is very, very thin, okay? And it washes just the inside of this midbrain area. Where you have the hole is this thalamus. That's a tube, essentially, that's going to go from one hemisphere to the other hemisphere. Okay? And then you have the cerebral aqueduct that's going to go from the third ventricle to the fourth ventricle, which you know is this part here that goes up essentially inside the cerebellum. Now, I think it was on this one that you could actually see a cerebral aqueduct, a pathway that's going to go into the fourth ventricle. The other thing you can see on this is the superior colliculus, inferior colliculus, pineal gland. Here, superior colliculus, inferior colliculus,